You're listening to the Business Mike podcast. Amazing interviews with entrepreneurs and industry thought leaders.
Hello and welcome again to another exciting episode of the Business Mike podcast. And today with me is Stefan from the Customer Institute. Stefan, could you just let the listeners and viewers know a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Dowdy, and good morning, good afternoon, everyone. It's great to be with you here. I'm Stefan Osthaus, and I'm a little bit of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I'm a split personality. I'm here today as the president of the Customer Institute. We are a volunteer organization, a global volunteer organization with a board of directors that spans across about 40 professionals who are either consultants or professors or practitioners or solution providers and who reside pretty much on every continent in so many countries around the globe. Our mission is to find, certify, promote, and create excellence in experience management. And since we are a volunteer organization, we all have day jobs. And that's what I meant with my split personality. In my day job, I am a customer experience practitioner myself. I'm a consultant. I have been a practitioner for decades in one of the largest software companies in the world. So when you scratch me, I bleed and sweat employee experience and customer experience and have been doing so for the past decades.
All right. Thank you so much, Stefan. And the reason why I wanted to have you on the show today is because I've been asked so many questions about the Customer Institute. When people hear that name, a number of questions come up. Some of them ask, is it an institute where I go to study a bachelor's or a master's so that I get a qualification? Others think to themselves, is it a certifying body similar to the others that are well known like CXPA? Is this a place where members go and then get certified? Or is it an institute that is a proper organization hiring many people? And what exactly does it do? So that is the purpose of having you here, in addition to a new certificate or certification that has been released by the Customer Institute. And I just wanted to probe further on my first assumption from the people who ask me questions by asking you, what exactly does the Customer Institute do on a day-to-day?
Good question, Dowdy. Good question. So let's go through the list of the things you listed. Are we a huge organization hiring many employees and give them a career opportunity? No, we are not. I mentioned we're a volunteer organization. We run on the enthusiasm, expertise, and experience of our board of directors to develop tools that we feel are lacking in the industry. For example, the Customer Institute assessments allow practitioners and consultants to assess the maturity of a CX or EX initiative or the maturity of a customer support organization. And we felt that what was there in the industry was either too Mickey Mouse-ish, 6 questions on some consultant's website that then tell you everything you need to know. No, they don't. Or a very expensive, high 6-digit assessment that paralyzes the to-be-assessed organization for many months. And we said, no, we need a pragmatic assessment that is profound, qualitative and quantitatively relevant. And so that is what we do. We develop methods and tools and give them to the community to use. Secondly, we are a community. So the global CX community is the largest group of CX practitioners and consultants and trainers and academics coming together. The membership is free of charge. We have resources on technology, on research, a book club, the podcast. We have a best practice library. We run regular webinars. Last year, we had our big annual conference in Amsterdam. So it is a thriving community where everyone who has a career and a passion for CX should come, join, thrive, and mingle. It's an institution we're very proud of. Then Next, we are a certifying body because, as I mentioned, our mission is to find and recognize and celebrate excellence in experience management. So ever since we were founded 8 years ago, we've been certifying tools and methods. Then a few years ago, about 4 years ago, we started certifying organizations based on the Customer Institute assessments. So the quantitative side of these assessments scores organizations, and if they pass a certain threshold, then they are certified customer-centric organizations or employee-centric or customer support organizations, depending on which assessment they use. So after certifying tools and methods first, organization second, we have just now launched our individual certifications, the Certified Customer Centricity Expert, CCCX certification, and that has been met with a great bit of enthusiasm by the community because we've been listening carefully about what the community liked about existing certifications and what they were lacking, and I think we have built a very profound offering for the global CX practitioning community out there.
Right. You've opened up a can of worms. My head is now spinning with questions. And before I get to the CCX qualification, I just wanted to finalize or conclude any questions that might be lingering for organizations. So you mentioned that you certify tools and also processes. In other words, if I have a multinational organization in Africa, and say I had consulted Daudi consultants who came and reviewed our systems and processes, and they gave us a certificate, basically saying that we're good to go, you would then come in and see whether or not the tools that Daudi consultants use to assess are up to standard. Is that what I'm getting from the?
Absolutely. There are two options. If Daudi Consultants in your example has an assessment methodology or any other methodology they bring to their client, we are very happy to review it with a review board made up of directors of the Customer Institute. And if it meets our certification criteria, which are public on our website, print our seal of approval and a certificate saying that Daudi Consulting's method is up to standards and best practices as it should be today. Even more interesting might be the case where Daudi Consultant doesn't have an employee experience assessment yet, or they don't have a comprehensive customer experience assessment yet, or while being customer support experts, they are lacking a customer support assessment. And this is where we can train the experts working at Daudi Consultancy and make them Customer Institute certified assessors, and they can then take the Customer Institute assessment, go to the client, spend a week there. Our assessment is only based on interview. There's not a single survey to be filled out because nobody likes surveys. And based on the interviews that Daudi Consultants will then have on the client side throughout a whole week, the analysis will provide the client with a profound qualitative and quantitative analysis that the Customer Institute contributes to. There's a wealth of support options that the Daudi Consultants can use in applying this methodology so that the client at the end can rest assured to be assessed by a globally standardized, profound, and certified methodology. And we are very confident to then, if a threshold is met, certify that client and say, you are a Customer Institute certified customer-centric or employee-centric organization. So yes, we would either certify your tools, or if you don't have one that you want to get certified, we even provide you with one we developed and let you use it.
All right, that's very good to hear. And those are some of the questions I was getting, and still sticking to Daudi Consultants. So Daudi Consultants has done a good job for a company in 1-2 countries, and they're becoming popular. Now they've gotten business in the Middle East. Is the Customer Institute able to lend support in scenarios like that, whereby the workload is overwhelming for a small team Dowdy consultants, and maybe we need some hands of experience. Is that something that the Institute can help with?
That's a wonderful question that touches on a nice characteristics of the CX community worldwide. We are many, but we are a closely knit community, aren't we? And I mentioned the global CX community. This is where you meet colleagues, peers, neighbors from other countries, and even other parts of the CX management. And we at the Customer Institute are always only a click away. We are members in this community. We are not in some 55-story glass skyscraper building. We're all individuals who will react to your message on our iPhones, in our community app. And so, yes, absolutely. If you need a colleague to help, if you need a methodology to use, if you need a brain to pick, and a person to spar on an idea you have, this is what we do. And we never charge for these things. We're a community. We help each other. This is what we do out of passion. And so, yes, absolutely. Wherever you go, whatever you need, you always have somebody to start the conversation and get directed into the right direction.
Fantastic. Thank you for clarifying that, Stefan. It's a question that has often come up and needed some explanation. And so as I conclude on the organizational bit of it, these certifications that are given to the organizations, how frequently are they done? Is this an annual thing? Is it done every 5 years? How often are these checks done to ensure that the standard is maintained?
That's an insightful question because, as we know, organizations mature along a path. They start very hands-on and paper and pencil in their hand, and then they mature towards a fully integrated voice of the customer snapped into their ERP system and a continuous improvement program that runs like a charm, albeit this might be an ideal target we all strive for. So I myself, as a consultant, I by now have pretty much done about 40 to 50 of these assessments. And I can tell you, clients love it for many reasons. First of all, as you say, it creates a baseline to measure improvement from, because it has a strong quantitative side. We will be able to tell you, you got 612 out of 1,000 points, and here is how they spread across the categories. And then many organizations say, all right, darn, we missed certification because the certification threshold is 70%, 700 out of 1,000 points. And they say, let's rerun this in 1 year or in 18 months. And let's build an action plan based on the recommendations that came from the assessment and try to get over this threshold of silver certification, after 800 points, gold certification, after 900 out of 1,000 points, platinum certification. So yes, we see clients who repeat assessments to measure and accelerate their maturing towards the ideal point where they want to go. Others who progress slower will consume and enjoy one assessment and then have a wealth of ideas that might keep them busy for a few years, given the resources that they have at hand. The benefit is always significant, no matter whether you use it as a standalone, at least for the foreseeable future, or as a series of assessments that are supposed to carry you across the finish line of certification.
Right. So if I have an organization that has met the threshold in 2025, it is at my discretion to come back to the Institute in 2030 to say, oh, 5 years down the line, can you come and see if we are still meeting the mark?
Absolutely. However, the certification itself, the certificate is valid for 2 years. Then after 2 years, we can see either through a formal assessment if we want to upgrade the assessment, or if any other changes have happened in the organization and we can extend the certification with or without an assessment. But you're fully right. Once the threshold is passed, the certification is granted for 2 years, And typically after that period, organizations will say, okay, let's make the next leap forward. Let's identify the next priorities for us to become more customer-centric and raise the bar, raise the level of excellence in experience management.
All right, fantastic. I believe that answers all the questions that I had concerning the organizational bit. And now I want to switch gears and go to the professional individual certifications. First of all, just share with us the genesis of CCCX. Why did this certification come to be? Don't we have enough already?
That's a great question. And the reason why CCCX was created was bidirectional. First of all, it was push following our mission to find, recognize, and celebrate excellence in experience management. So if we want to do this comprehensively, we can't just only certify methods and organizations. We also need to celebrate and recognize the thousands of CX professionals around the globe. But even stronger probably was the pull from the community, because in speaking to our members around the globe, we hear a lot of unfulfilled wishes when it comes to individual certifications. So first of all, and I think the biggest annoyance to everyone was that no matter how experienced you are and how many decades of hard work in CX you have on your back, you still need to come back and renew your certification with many of the programs out there. And our philosophy is true expertise does not expire. So if you're a rookie out of college and you get your first CX masterclass, yes, that certification in our world is valid for 3 years. But if you then come back and you've worked in CX for 3 years, you go through another training or you have another recognized certification that you can show us, we will certify you for life. So CCCX is a certification for life after your first renewal. The second challenge we heard from our members is that the individual certification is too expensive. Granted that it is something that highlights to the world your passion and your expertise in customer experience, it is something that needs to work around the globe. And if you try to rake in hundreds and hundreds of dollars every other year, the community is easily overwhelmed. So we said a certification program needs to be profound and strict. On the other hand, it needs to be customer friendly and affordable. And this is why the CCCX certification is, with the training providers that we work, charged into the training fee. So we charge trainers 100 euros per certification, and we have a list of countries where we offer per default a 50% discount. So all of Africa, huge parts of Asia, huge parts of Eastern Europe and South America are on that list. So there we charge 50 euros to the trainer for the certification, and they then charge it into the training course so that there's, for the participant, no additional fee to get certified. The same price is valid for recognizing honored third-party certifications. So we're looking at certifications out there in the world, for example, CCXP certifications, whom we respect a lot for their strictness and their effectiveness in measuring CX expertise, and we recognize those. So if you have an expired CCXP certification and one of ours, you can redeem them into a lifetime CCCX certification. Or at an extreme point, if you have 2 CCXP certifications, you can exchange them into a lifetime CCCX with the Customer Institute and get out of this eternal recertification and renewal carousel. That is pretty much what we heard. The other challenges that community members state about certifications, that they are lacking practical value, is something that we as the Customer Institute can address quite effectively. We communicate to our members and to organizations around the globe what the value of CCCX certification is. So I hope we will be addressing this very effectively. And then the fourth challenge that community members told us is the lessons that lead to certifications are sometimes irrelevant and outdated. And here we are the experts. We've been certifying trainings for many, many years, and we can assure everyone in the industry that only trainings with relevant, up-to-date content get certified by the Customer Institute, because it's a federal system. We don't take an exam centrally to get CCCX certification. We certify trainers like Dowdy Training, if that was available, to run a professional CX masterclass or any other topical course in experience management, and then members earn their certification with Dowdy Training or Middle East Training or Peru Training or Mongolia Training. Wherever they want to take their trainings, this is where they earn their Customer Institute certification.
Right. Your ending remarks there is where I want to start. And this is something that I was asked by an individual who said, if I want to train, particularly on certifications, how do I do that? So in other words, this person is like Dowdy Trainers, like you said, but Dowdy Trainers does not yet understand the course itself. So they must first do the course, the certificate, and learn it, and then teach it. So what does that cycle look like?
Right. So if Dowdy Training doesn't have a training, it's not Dowdy Training. It's Dowdy Pretentious Training, and sorry, we won't be able to help you. But knowing Dowdy, I know that Dowdy Training probably has a well-established CX masterclass, or Dowdy Training has a wonderful voice of the customer seminar, or it has a profound calculating the return on investment workshop lined up. And now Dowdy Training can bring these training programs to the Customer Institute, and we will review them. We will review the training, and we will require that you have a compact exam of 30 to 45 minutes at the end of the seminar. It's a multiple choice open book exam that makes sure that the participants have not just been sitting there reading news on their iPhone, but that they have internalized the content of the training. And if our review board, as I would expect with Dowdy Training, says thumbs up, this is current, this is relevant, this is comprehensive, we certify Dowdy Training to, from that point on, pass out CCCX certification to graduates from your training. The charge for that, the certification of your training will cost 750 euros, again, with a 50% discount across Africa, South America. So in your areas, it's something like 375 euros to get your training certified. And from that point on, you can certify your graduates as certified customer centricity experts.
Oh, fantastic. And one more question that I know will come up. You mentioned that the CCCX recognizes some certifications that are in existence and use CCXP as one of those. So if an individual has qualifications in CX that are not CCXP, maybe from an entity where they paid thousands of dollars, and they've come to you, they've said, I've done 4 of their trainings, they were very expensive, please, can I have the CCCX? How do you grade or assess certifications outside the ones that are recognized that you mentioned?
So within the community that I mentioned, the global CX community, there is a process hard-coded that you can use for pre-authorized third-party certifications. At the moment, it's CCXP, and we already have an internal wait list of other certifications we are going to honor. It takes a little bit of time with a volunteer organization to go through that list. If we haven't made it to that multi-$1,000 seminar that you have gone through, simply send us an informal message and said, hey, I've been to Expensive Academy. They were really good, but very expensive. Here's what I learned there. Here's my certification. Would you consider honoring this for a lifetime CCCX? and then we'll be very quick to review and let you know. So as I said, we are not a 50-story high skyscraper global headquarters of the Customer Institute. We are a group of 40 directors, and we're incredibly fast in replying to our members.
Fantastic. Now, I know there are people out there dying to know, can I get started now? If so, where do I sign up? Are they available now? Where are the centers? Are there centers in my country? Where can this information be found?
So the Global CX community is where all your joy starts. So our web address is customer-institute.org. And if you add a little dash community at the end, this is where your journey starts. So customer-institute.org/community. This is where you create your community account for free, where you're then a member, where you find certified trainings in your region, where you can apply as a trainer to get your training certified, where you can send us a message for your expensive academy certificate that we don't know about yet, where you can redeem your 2 CCXPs against 1 CCCX. So everything's happening in the community, and not only those administrative things, also the fun stuff is happening. People asking, wait a minute, how do I discuss this with a product development team? What is a good webinar? What's the best practice for this? Does anyone have research on return on investment? So it's a hotspot place that I invite all of you to join us. And I know that the CX Association for Uganda also has their regional space there. So our regional friends from around the globe have their regional corners within the global CX community. It is the hotspot where everything is happening. So come and join us. It's customer-institute.org/community.
Right. Well, thank you so much, Stefan. That brings us to the end of the podcast interview. And before we let you go, maybe just 1 or 2 parting words, and then we'll call it a wrap.
Thank you so much. So for 2025, I, as a CX professional, started the new year and I thought, what should my motto be? And I think maybe I share my motto for 2025 with you because I'm sure it's relevant for all of you. And it is called CX Excellence, Turning Vision into Action. And I think this is where we all struggle the most. Everyone can come up with a wonderful vision, and our clients do, and our employers do, and our government institutions do. But to turn this vision into action is something where we can excel, where we can help clients, colleagues, friends, and institutions. So let's sign up to this motto and let's turn vision into action for CX excellence. Thank you so much for having me, Daudi.
Thank you, Stefan, for coming on, and I look forward to hosting you at the CXA Uganda webinar. Looking forward to that, Stefan.
I'm looking forward to that as well. Thank you so much, and thanks everyone for joining us today.